specifically, I work with the Refugee Employment Center. I volunteer there. What the Refugee Employment Center does at Lutheran Social Services is it helps people basically help get jobs. Applicants, refugees, they come in, and I would say that 99% of the refugees that we have in St. Cloud that actually utilize the service right now are Somali refugees. They come in and they maybe need a resume or job seeking skills, or we actually just help them. We go online and we help them through the workforce center or workforce agencies fill out applications, and just basically work with them on how to get a job and help try to find jobs for them in the area. Well, I want to first of all go over. These are some statistics I actually took from LSS. The fiscal year 2010. So it was last year's statistics. First of all, I have to mention that this particular agency only serves refugees who have been here 5 years or less. So the gender of the people coming in looking for jobs, actually 54%, a little more than half, were women who were looking for jobs. There are a couple of reasons for this. Number one, being here requires families to have two incomes, especially when they're unskilled workers, because as a lot of us know, A, the job market isn't that great, and B, working at McDonald's or even working at a factory for $9 or $10 an hour is not going to sustain a family of 3 or 4. So now both parents have to work. Secondly, men are, because of the informal economy within the Somali community, things like working at the halal market and working for relatives and bartering and having small shops and things like that, a lot of the men are actually able, more men than women, are able to find employment, even within like the factories and things like that, because maybe they have a family member or a friend or a cousin who works at Electrolux. They tell them, this is what you do to go work at Electrolux. A lot of the women, the scope of what they can do is a little bit limited. Somali women, due to Muslim women in general, due to the dress. They can't work on the factory lines that have some of the printing corporations won't hire them because they require them to wear jeans. Number of years in the United States. Actually, number of years in the United States. 15% of the people that I served have been here for less than a year. 24% have been here for a year, and most of those people, I would estimate 95% of those people had actually been looking for a job in St. Cloud for at least a year and hadn't found one. A lot of the people that came here, even though they had previous experience working in, they left Somalia, maybe they had a family business in Somalia, or maybe they worked, maybe they were a midwife or a nurse. They carried those skills over to Kenya. A lot of the people I work with go to refugee camp in Kenya and work in hotels in Nairobi, for example, as housekeepers and things like that. So they are coming over here with skills. The average age is the greatest number is actually 18 to 25 years old. These are demographics we would actually see with the workforce in St. Cloud itself. It's very comparable. 18 to 35 years old is the age group. So it's not like it's a whole bunch of people coming over here who are 72 and looking for work. It's the same. It's the same demographics people from the host community who work here in St. Cloud. Education level. This was surprising to me, because when I think of people coming from a refugee camp, I don't think of them as being educated. When I think of people, prior to this, I have to say I had some preconceived notions about Somali people or about refugees or immigrants in general. And their education level was one of them. And as you can see, actually 39% had a 12-year high school education. And along with that 12-year high school education, they may not have, a lot of people describe their schools or how they learn, and it wasn't as maybe structured as the United States. But these are people who, English is not their second language. So it's absolutely phenomenal, the amount of knowledge that they actually possess. And there actually were 4% that had professional degrees. And these people are, but professional degrees were, won't transfer from Somali or Kenya. So I had one lady actually say to me, Casey, what's the difference between delivering a baby in Africa and delivering a baby in St. Cloud, Minnesota? I said, I don't know. But she can't do it here. She can't be a nurse here. She has to go through the schooling and get the certificate to be a registered nurse in the United States, even though she was a registered nurse in Nairobi, Kenya, actually. And the no formal education was only 4%, only 4% of people, and that was generally the older people, the people that were like between 55 and 65. Most of the younger people were coming over here with at least a 12-year education. The ESL level, here's another barrier that they face is a lot of employers in St. Cloud feel that Somali people don't speak English well enough to work for them. And I worked at Electrolux building freezers, and I can tell you, you don't actually have to know the English language because I'm pretty proficient at it. And I couldn't build a freezer. I knew somebody who couldn't speak a word of English, and that person could build freezers like nobody's business. So the ESL level, but still, even with these preconceived notions, over half of the people have a medium to high level of ESL. And so that was a little bit surprising. This is a United States standardized test that they have to take. So it's not just them saying, well, yeah, I guess medium. They actually have to take an exam and are rated on a scale of low, medium, high. And that's the end of actually the demographics. So now I just want to talk a little bit about in this project what some of the push-pull factors were. Obviously, one of the biggest push factor out of Somalia was the fact that there is a civil war, and the violence, looting, and things like that have pushed people out of Somalia. A lot of them end up in Kenya. Most of them actually end up in Kenya, or the ones that I've served, due to the fact that there's a large refugee camp there. In Kenya, everyone in the refugee camp actually does something. They have some sort of a job, whether it's distributing rations or washing clothes, they have a job. So they're obtaining some skills there as well. A lot of them actually leave the refugee camp and work maybe like in the hotels in Nairobi, anything that has to do with like the tourist industry, the food service, delivery drivers, things like that. So they're coming here. The United States, the pull factor is that on an international level, the United States is seen as a place of opportunity, especially economic opportunity. They found that people are coming to Minnesota. It began coming to the Twin Cities area. The reason being is that there was already a large Somali community there. So they not only had this already stable community, but there were opportunities for jobs. Now, if you're going to move somewhere, you would probably want to move somewhere where you could be employed. So they did have a rather large unskilled labor market in the Twin Cities. They also had adequate housing and affordable housing to house several families. What happened in the last probably 5 years is that the crime rates actually have increased in the areas that the Somali people are living in the cities. Education system is not as good as they thought it would be for their children. And the land of opportunity is not exactly packed with opportunities because a lot of them are having difficult times finding employment. Even though the employment that they're finding in the cities is a lot different than in St. Cloud. Whereas in the cities you may see a Somali person or an immigrant working behind a corner in a gas station or a JCPenney, places where consumers go to buy things. In St. Cloud you don't see that. That was one of the most difficult things for me in this experience because I couldn't find any small people. I found, I found that the pull factor to crime level would be less, which it is. The education level better, which it is. And we did have adequate housing. The city of St. Cloud actually planned for a migration of refugees into St. Cloud, and in their planning, housing was one of the things that they planned for. One of the things they didn't plan for was jobs. St. Cloud is one of our key industries is manufacturing and production. We have Electrolux, we have, there's Jenny-O Turkeys is in central Minnesota, Golden Plump, FDC. There's several printing factories, Mahan, Quebecor, I think there's 5 or 6 different rather large printing companies. Now all of these, the one thing that they all have in common is that they hire unskilled laborers. So when the refugees came here, one of the first place stops that they make is actually the Refugee Employment Center to try to find these jobs. Well, up until the last probably 2 or 3 years, they were able to go, we would say, hey, go to, for example, go to Electrolux and pick up an application, or go to one of the printing companies and pick up an application. Well, that's no longer the case. Electrolux is, they build freezers in town, and they hire many people to do this, have 3 shifts. They're actually one of the few companies left for unskilled laborers that does direct hire in St. Cloud. What I mean by that is St. Cloud is a relatively small area, and within our area we have over a dozen temporary agencies. What has happened is a lot of the factories and production companies, things like that, have gone from the permanent direct hire, like you come to me, you fill out an application, and you're hired with my company, to actually you need to go through AccuTemp or one of the temporary agencies, and they say, okay, if there's work for you that day, then we'll give you a call, and then you can go work there, but you don't actually work for that company. Now, this is problematic for quite a few reasons. Number one, employees in the host community we also have a large number of unskilled laborers because factories have been prevalent in the St. Cloud area for so long that you used to be able to graduate high school and go work for a factory and retire and have a pretty good life. But now, with the existence of these temporary agencies, what's happening is, even though quite a few members of the host community want to resist going through these temporary agencies and stay as permanent hires in the companies that they're at, the Somali refugee workers don't have that option. If they want to eat, they need to be paid. They kind of live on that same note. There's sort of a double-edged sword. In the host community, people are upset when immigrant workers are on welfare, utilize the welfare system. On the other hand, they can't get jobs. So either have to hire the immigrant workers, or you have to deal with the fact that they have to temporarily be on welfare. They don't want to be on welfare. These people are coming. I still have people from last May who are calling me